It is said that Joker, Folie, Deux is a bad movie, that it alienates his fan base, is gimmicky, and lacks the gritty realism of the first. Well, I am here to tell you why I think that's wrong. Not in the sense that the above criticisms are invalid, they are, but more as observations which for many amount to a bad movie, which for me are, in this case, the foundations of a good, maybe even great movie. Great in a terribly self-negating sense, which examines its own core and becomes anti-itself. Is that not Fleckian to the core? It imposes upon itself to underline its flaws. It's saying, this is all an act. You're not responding to the real me. A point Fleck himself makes in the courtroom, which has become Joker's stage. It is argued that the film is ruled by its thesis, rather than its characters. I would argue that character is something it is trying to deconstruct. It is a film with many points, one being its own purposelessness, the fact that it is not needed, or rather, to kill the purpose of the first film. Perhaps its subtitle is a reference to this. This can even be seen in Arthur's character. He goes from being intimate to a force in and of himself, which he negates by the end of the film. Folie Deux is also a tragedy. Fleck himself lives out a pseudo-imaginary relationship with a woman who will only accept him as Joker. His persona is living out the life he couldn't, and when he casts aside his shadow self, he loses everything it had gained. When he is free to, or rather forced to be his authentic self, he is brutally murdered, and just when hope had entered his life again, if it ever had. Who was that visitor? So, when he has killed 6 people, he has really killed 7, the 7th being himself, which must incur the wrath of his shadow sins, as shown in the opening cartoon sequence. But what created this shadow? Could it be, in donning a mask to present to the world a face it can tolerate, the suppression of his real self, the buried impulses the mask hides, grows the very thing it sought to escape? The shadow is ephemeral. It can't be simply locked away, at least not without consequences. Regarding Fleck's much discussed fantasy life, it's an obvious coping strategy to deal with his real life. The cartoon makes the tragic reality more palatable. What we are really watching is a generic spree killer with a particularly dissociated personality. So, for me, it's not a rejection of the psychological study of the first film, but rather the inevitable culmination of it. To love the first and hate the second, well, that appears to me to be a bit hasty, if not slightly immature. Despite the musicality, which has a thematic relevance beyond a simple jive, Folie Deux is no less gritty and realistic a fictional case study as the first. And in fact, it is, to me, a satisfying and paradoxically meaningful movie in the class of modern mythology. And that is what makes a movie great.